Break up the Sacramento Kings 130 to 121. About 3 hours ago, we were on Fox Sports Radio, and Ryan said, you're going to see a really good offensive game tonight. You're going to see the ball movement tonight. And guess what? 29 assists and only 4 turnovers. That is unbelievable. Guess who didn't play in the game tonight?
Keegan Murray?
No, he didn't play. That's correct.
Let's see. Who else? Zach LaVine?
No, he didn't play.
Russell Westbrook?
That's right.
Oh,
Russell Westbrook did not play. And the Kings had 29 assists and 4 turnovers. And really, other than, I mean, you got to be honest here, other than Malik Monk and Nick Clifford, everyone shot the ball beautifully. And in all fairness here, okay, I mean, Achua was as good as any player on the floor. Max RynoI was really good. But what do you – and Devin Carter starting for Russell Westbrook. You know what just strikes me immediately is how much quicker the ball gets up the court without Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it's a drastic difference. And you point out the scoring. You talked about the assists. I'm not looking at the 5 guys in double-digit scoring. I'm looking at 5 guys with 4 or more assists, led by Nick Clifford with 7. Yeah. That makes a big difference. You can't choose who you play against, Grant, in Dallas, but you can choose how you want to play. And tonight, the Kings, to me, felt like they were excited to play this game because they knew the opportunity. They weren't going to be looking over their shoulder, but they also knew that not one of them, outside of DeMar DeRozan, who bought into this tonight clearly and was excited for these guys, they knew they couldn't singularly win the game. They had to do it together, and that's what a 14-win team should look like, right there.
The way, Jerry Reynolds is getting over the flu. He should be with us for the Lakers game. So Carter can't shoot, man, but he's so good at being in the right places. Boy, if he could ever just learn how to shoot just okay, he could really be a guy that could play in this league. Not as a starter, but as a role player. I don't think there's any doubt about that, at least in my opinion.
It's much easier to teach somebody how to shoot than how to be in the right places, Nips.
Yep. Precious Achua, boy, what a game he had, huh?
Fabulous. He continues to work himself into, I keep saying this, better shape and showing off his game more and more and adding to his game. Coming out of New York was not supposed to be this type of offensive player. So I will say 1-year contract in Sacramento worked out very well for Precious.
The Kings win 130 to 121. That's 2 wins on this road trip, a win at Memphis and a win tonight. And boy, the Mavs, and again, they're like Sacramento. They're depleted. They don't have a front line at all. And I give the Kings credit. They exploited that.
Yeah, hey, great. How about the Kings, who scored 40 points in the first half against the Clippers on 12:30, put up 42 in the first quarter?
How about that, huh? And again, you called that. You said, oh, you think this is going to be really good? Everything you said was spot on. Everybody would be involved. The ball would move. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep, and it's good for morale. Now, the question is, Grant, what do you do going forward?
Well, you know what to do going forward because we've been talking about it since opening night.
Okay, you know what to do, but what will the Kings do?
They're going to do the wrong thing, and they're going to play Russell Westbrook. And by the way, we're not anti-Russell Westbrook. No. We need to point that out. I mean, but the reality is he shouldn't be playing, and he shouldn't have been playing. I don't think he should have been playing one game, but he should not have been playing the last several weeks. And let's also call it, he's been, with the exception of a game here and a game there, he has not been playing well.
No, he is not. Well, the numbers, if you're somebody that just looks at the stat sheet, then you're going to argue with us. But if you're watching him play, no, he has not been playing great. And that's the drastic difference. Somebody said big difference from last night. 22 points. You were down 21 to 42, I believe, or 22 to 41. Yep. And Westbrook had 17 points. Yep. You know what? Let's take the words right from Doug Christie. The basketball has energy when it moves. Yep. That's what we want to do. And tonight was a perfect example of that. It inflates a team. It's awesome.
How about my Bowling Green product, Mr. Plowden? He looked
Mr.
good.
Mr. Plowden.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. What's the inside scoop with him, Napes?
Well, he's a Bowling Green Falcon.
Okay. And
That's the Mid-American Conference, by the way.
Why does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah.
American Conference. Is Sac State in that?
Westbrook helps the tank, though. Can't really argue with that. Right?
Yes, he does, but okay, he helps the tank, but something that's been talked about so much in this city is not letting players kind of develop in real time on the court. He blocks development of players. The confidence was different with Anik Clifford tonight. The spacing was different. I think it hurts your young guys more.
Who's getting carried away? I'm not getting carried away. Ryan's not getting carried away. We're not getting carried away. What makes you think we're getting carried away?
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, the team's got 14 wins. We've been on since October. We can't talk about the positives. That's going to bother you. There were positives tonight. Yeah, I know they played a team that sucks, that had, half their team out. I get that. But that doesn't mean you ignore the positives.
Yeah, 100%. Let's kick off the calls with Andre. What's up tonight, Andre?
Hey, what's up, Grant? What's up, Ryan?
Hey there.
Yeah, so I'm not going to complain about this win. I think it's good the young guy showed up. Devin Carter, he proved himself tonight.
He didn't prove anything tonight, okay? You don't prove anything on a game. You prove yourself over a stretch, okay? Anik Clifford had 30 points a couple of weeks ago against the Cavaliers, and really since then has had maybe one good game. So you don't prove yourself in one game. The NBA is not about one game. The NBA is about putting a string of games together. The NBA and all professional sports is about consistency. So he didn't prove anything tonight. What he did do is he got an opportunity and he made the most of it. But if he gets the same opportunity on Sunday against the Lakers, he needs to make the most of that as well. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. I like what I saw tonight, but I've liked other games that he's played. His liability is shooting, but tonight it was better. And again, I just love the energy he plays with and the fact that the ball goes from the backcourt to the front court in an instant. With Russell, it's like you're playing in quicksand.
Yeah, I agree. But I would say with Devin Carter and Anik Clifford, both of their defense are consistent with the rebounding and assists are good on those stuff.
Ryan?
Yeah,
but
I don't disagree. I mean, it might not always show on the stat sheet, but they're almost in every play. They've got their fingertips on the basketballs, and that's pretty much all you can ask for, especially for two guards. And Andre, the other big thing tonight was the switchability. This team pretty much, unless DeRozan was on the floor, could switch 1 through 5, which makes playing at that pace that much easier.
Yeah, I'm just really hoping in offseason that we ship out the veterans, or at least like we could find something happen so we could just like get the rebuild going, just trade DeRozan if we can or something.
Well, you're not going to be able to do anything until the summertime.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't have much, nothing else to say. But thanks for the call.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Nice job to lead us off here as the Kings beat the Dallas Mavericks. And I was impressed with how the game started. And you hit it right on the head on the radio show before tip-off. You predicted that, but I didn't predict it to that fashion. I mean, they had 21 points with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they never slowed down.
Yeah, it just, for me, when you look at what Dallas put on the floor, their only real asset to me was if they were going to, you pointed out, Marvin Bagley had been playing really well the last few games. It was going to be inside. That's how the Mavs were going to do it. Other than that, it was going to be a spread out game. And that's what it was. And Grant, I am going to concede to you, Max RynoI would be a lottery pick.
Yes, you would.
He would.
I just don't know where in the lottery, but I made that comment on the radio yesterday. Yeah. You kind of thought he'd be out of the lottery, but not too far from there. But I don't think there's any doubt he'd be a lottery pick. If the draft were held all over again tomorrow from last year, he'd be a lottery pick. And I think Nick might be very late first round or early second round. I don't think he'd be where he was taken. He'd be below that, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. Hey, speaking of rookies, check this out. Con Knipple passed Keegan Murray as the all-time rookie leader and made 3-pointers tonight. You
How
think
about
he's going to
that?
be the rookie of the year over Cooper?
Yeah, I do. What do you think?
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really close. It's funny with that Charlotte team. You get a Con Knipple. You've got Brandon Miller, who put up,
Yep.
I think, 33 tonight.
And the
And then
Kings
you
haven't played them this year.
no, they haven't. You've still got the Lonzo stuff. As long as you can keep him out of a car, you might be okay. But Kobe White, you bring those young pieces together. It's just those little moves like that that can spark a team in a couple of years. Now, if they make a couple good picks, they could possibly be looking at a situation, not at the top of the East like
Right.
Detroit, but they could be in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you with us here. Always nice when you can talk about a good performance, and that was the case tonight. And always good when I can talk about New Works Plumbing, water heaters, water line repair, sewer repair, water filtration, gas lines. Call the number on your screen or newworksplumbing.com. They've got a fix for you, and remember, they're available 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. That's New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you.
Kings don't need any fixes tonight, I guess.
No.
Honestly, probably when we sit back and look at the end of this season, this will be one of the more memorable games for me. And it should be from this season because you got a taste of the young guys playing a team that's depleted, but playing at a style that they're comfortable in. And you're getting to see a little bit more out of them. And I hope for Kings fans, you get to see that, Grant, down the stretch as we close this out.
I think we're going to find out a lot on Sunday. And when we look at the starting lineup, right? And then how many minutes is Russell Westbrook going to play? The only thing about the game tonight, and I'm still waiting for, because I use the word consistency, is Nick Clifford's shot. It is so inconsistent. I mean, it just is. It's just very inconsistent.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. When I look at the totality of this season, it infuriates me that they signed Russell Westbrook, who came in off the street, had 2 practices, and then within 2 weeks was starting, and on some nights playing 40 minutes a game. And again, I'm not anti-Russell Westbrook, but for this team with what they're doing and the direction they're going in, it has made 0 sense. And you got a coach that's in love with the guy. And I know Doug well enough, and so do you, that if Russell's feeling good on Sunday, he's going to start. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, if I'm the organization, I'm going to probably rest manage him or whatever that soreness is.
If I'm the organization, I'm going to waive him. I'm going to release him.
Grant, why would they do it now?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm telling you what I would do.
And I agree with you. And I think the problem that the Kings are in is this Russell is only going to be, in my opinion, sexy to a couple of teams right now in the NBA because of the way he's played this year. And you know what he's coming in as. He's going to do to your team with your second unit what he's done with the Kings and take a lot of shots, play that style. And I just don't think there's a big market. So I think Russ would rather stay here, finish out the season, and keep those stats going up.
Probably. I mean, he took 14 shots in the first quarter last night.
That's what I'm saying. Look at his minute. You don't have to look at his minutes. Look at his shots. They're about equal with his minutes, if not more, in the last 8 to 10 games.
And so what happens? And you made this point last night. You got the other guys just standing around looking, not moving. There's no flow. There's no ball movement. It doesn't go side to side. It's just a stagnant, awful offense.
It's the equivalent of, in my opinion, being a pitch hitter. But think of it in basketball where you're on the court, you're playing defense, and you touch the ball maybe once every 5 possessions. That's a difficult way to play basketball. Really hard.
Somebody said how stupid if they re-sign Russell next season. They're not going to re-sign him, and he wouldn't come back. All right? He's not coming back to this disaster again. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's not out of the realm, Grant. It's not out of the realm. That's the problem. That's why I pause. Like, that's literally why I'm like,
right. Wow.
Yeah. You see what this group can do in LA because it's going to be a completely different matchup. Then I think that is where you make that decision. I'm not going to go to Russ after this entire season and say, Russ, after tonight in Dallas, without Cooper Flag and half of the other team, we're going to sit you down. We're not going to start you anymore. But if you see a sample size, like what would the sample size need to be for you? A win in Los Angeles?
That sample size for me happened 4 months ago. But yes. A game in LA like tonight, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So we know your sample size. For Doug Christie, what do you think the sample size
Okay,
is?
but here's the other aspect of all of this. You've been pointing this out. After the Lakers game, most of the games the rest of the month are at home. You got to give your fans a reason to go to the games. Right now, there's no reason to go to the games.
Grant, the fans at the home games I've been at as of late, they gasp when the ball's in Russell's hands.
Yep.
In the half court.
Yep.
Kings fans, well, if the Kings would have lost tonight, they would have been okay with it, not just because of the tank, but because of the basketball that they saw. That was entertaining basketball.
Yes, it was. Again, 29 assists and 4 turnovers, Ryan.
Yep. Very good stuff. Up and down the court. They did have a turnover in the fourth quarter. It was that last one as the clock ran out, but no turnovers in the first or fourth.
Yeah. And I don't even count that as a turnover. That's just,
Yeah. So, question, were you watching when Devin Carter took the shot to the head?
No, I missed that.
Okay. He was coming off of, I think it was like a rebound, or he was coming down, and as he's coming back, his head, kind of the backside of his head, hits Precious Achua, and he immediately comes forward, and he's just holding his head. And it looked like kind of he hit his nose as well, bouncing off of somebody. And then he kind of stumbled to the side, and I'm thinking, oh boy, is he concussed? Because Precious held him up while all that was going on. I'll be interested to see how he's feeling tomorrow or next day in LA.
Hey, Rhino, I want to let everybody know Wednesday, I'm going to be broadcasting Fox Sports Radio's Sacramento version out at Bennett's in Roseville. All right. Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland. There are 3 locations. But Wednesday, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, come on out and see me do the show from Bennett's in Roseville. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com to make a reservation and more. And come out and see me next Wednesday, Bennett's, Roseville, Eureka, and Lead Hill Boulevard.
I want to ask you this question because you've been in the league you were in the league for so long. Is there anything to the thinking that when a new GM like Scott Perry comes into a franchise that's not successful or struggling, that there's stink on the previous GM's draft picks? Is there more of an urge to maybe put your own impression on the team quicker?
Yes.
Interesting.
And I think that's what happened. I think that's what's happened with Devin Carter. I think Scott Perry was down on Devin Carter after watching him play in Summer League. And conversely, he was so high on Nick Clifford that he was, starting to tell everyone that he could play point guard and all of that. Nick cannot play point guard. I'm sorry. He's too slow. I don't care how well he sees the floor. In today's NBA game, and I know you're going to disagree with me, and I want you to if you do.
Yeah.
I could see him playing a couple of minutes here and there. He's not a guy that's ever going to be a starting point guard in this league. He's just not. His quickness is not there, in my opinion, the way the game is played now. And he has other attributes that I like, but in terms of an NBA point guard, I just don't see that.
It's hard for me to judge his quickness right now, and I do agree a little bit slower than you would like, but with him shooting the 3 ball so poorly, teams are kind of asking him or baiting him to shoot that shot. So if a defender's actually coming out at him, I want to see that quick response, and we haven't seen a ton of it this season. And when we have, he's hesitated. I think his vision is excellent. You saw some of the 2-man game with him and RynoI in space. The problem is those two and many of the other Kings have not had space to operate those games because you always have 2 or 3 big names on the floor at any given time.
I don't know what you're drinking. All right. That Clifford could be Halliburton. I need some of what you're smoking. Who said that he could be? Who said that he could be Halliburton? There's no way in the world he can be Tyrese Halliburton. Let's stop with the nonsense. I didn't see who said that. Whoever said that, you're delusional.
I said during the summer he has the best vision of a rookie that I've seen since Halliburton here in Sacramento.
Be Halliburton for those that heard you say that.
Yes. So, and I still agree with that. His IQ is super high.
It's a game of consistency. and he's only a rookie, so I'm not going to bury him. But there's nothing in his game this year on the offensive end that's been consistent.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Somebody said how I see Plowden. I need to see him for the next 21 games so I have a real good evaluation. I never look at individual games. I look at a stretch of games. You know, I don't get caught up in a really good game for a player. I get caught up in 5 really good games in a row for a player. That's when I start going, wow, okay, I'm starting to see it. Like Max RynoI. When Max started getting an opportunity, Ryan,
Yeah.
and he got his feet wet, and he put together not only a couple of real good games, a couple of weeks of consistent basketball. That's when we said, and Jerry said, wow, the Kings have themselves a player here.
Yep, absolutely. Plowden, for me, he's a perfect 3 in the G League, but in the NBA, he's a tweener.
Yeah, he is a tweener.
He's 6'6". He's athletic enough to play the 2.
He is athletic.
But he has to get much better with shooting the basketball. And he was really good tonight, but I mean 2-guard better to be able to have a mark as a role player here in the NBA. That would be my evaluation.
Yeah. All right. Good to have you with us here on the post-game show as the Kings beat the Dallas Mavericks. And now they will wrap up the road trip in LA against the Lakers.
Well, 2 wins. I think that's more than we had on the bingo card coming into the road trip.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, it says Maxine is easily top 5 to 10 player, absolute steal. I disagree with you. It's not easily top 5 to 10 player. That's ridiculous.
He's talking about in the draft.
He's still not a top 5 player in the draft, okay? I could see him going in this draft if we're held all over again, 11, 12, 13, or 14. I'm not ready to put him in the top 10 just yet. Why? Because he had a really good game tonight? I mean, again, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but yesterday you didn't think he was a lottery pick. Now you can't just all of a sudden.
No, that's not fair. 10. I said fringe.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, fringe isn't 5 to 10.
No, it is not. Yep. Aaron wants to know, Grant, how long until the Kings are competitive again?
Well, a minimum of 2 years. Minimum. Again, you just look at the teams that have outstanding rookies this year and how their teams are doing, and you're going to get a 19-year-old kid in here. All right. It's going to take a while.
Richard, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was wondering what you guys think about Precious Achiuwa for next year. Do you think the Kings will re-sign him? Like, what contract do you think he will get? I wasn't too high on him to start, but I could see him as a role player, 20 minutes a game next year. But what do you guys think?
Well, I don't know if he's going to be on the team, but it's going to be very interesting to see what his market is, Ryan. What do you think about that?
I don't think the Kings can afford to sign him, and unless you're able to make a move with Hunter, you've kind of got a backlog there, and you're paying Hunter that much money, you got to play him. But I think Precious would be a reasonable piece, a good piece to have on this team.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the answering my question, guys.
Yeah, hey, appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
You know, you people need to wake up. All right, there's no way in the world he's 5 to 15. That is too large of a range. You can't go 5 to 15. Okay, yeah, that's stupid. That's like you're going to be going to jail between 5 and 15 years. Okay, well, you know what? You better hope it's 5 and not 15. That's a hell of a difference. Let's make the gap a little bit narrower. Really, between 5 and 15, he's not going to go anywhere near 5 if it's held all over again. Let's not get carried away here. Let's be realistic. All right, stop with the nonsense.
What position do the Kings need the most help in? I think I know where you're going to go. On the court. He is on the court. Okay, on the team.
Point guard.
Point guard. I would agree with you. Man, if they could get a Colin Gillespie type, you know what? Like, I'm sorry. I know he's playing in China, but especially with the way things played out this year and coming off of the season he had in the G League, I would have loved to see Mason Jones get just a look here, because he was asked to be the scorer in Stockton, Grant, but he could distribute too. He was that guy that could go back and forth.
Yes. said Max is a first-round pick. Well, we've said that, and we were talking about that yesterday. I made a comment on the radio yesterday that if the draft were held all over again, that Max would be a lottery pick. Ryan thought fringe lottery pick. I said, no doubt in my mind, he'd be a lottery pick. Now, lottery pick is all the way to 14. So I don't think he'd be in the top 10, but in my opinion, I think he'd be 11, 12, 13, or 14.
My reasoning behind it was because teams are drafting a little bit more subjectively rather than objectively. So
what do you mean by that in a basketball sense?
In a basketball sense, you have been pretty firm in your stance. The Kings need to take the best player available, right? This year.
I think so.
The last 2 drafts outside of your top 5 picks, it then goes subjective. Young Hansen coming in to Portland. Anybody have him up there? So you have to say maybe a third of those teams already have a big, so they might really need a point guard, and there's a guy they really like and they think their system can develop them.
You can't go out of town to another market. The Kings are locked into a long-term lease here. It's not going to happen. Don't even think that. There's no chance the Kings are leaving. So don't even go there. It's a hypothetical, and it's unrealistic, and it's an impossibility. Who cares whether Vivek wants to leave Sacramento or not? First of all, I've never heard that. I don't believe that. And I don't know why you would say that. You can't just start rumors that somebody wants to leave if you don't know that to be the case, because you want to have it sound good on a YouTube show. I mean, we got to have a little responsibility here and stop with the absurdity and the nonsense. Seriously, grow up a little bit, would you please?
Bobby Marks said before the season or during the summer that he talked to a couple people and posed the hypothetical that if Vivek left the country for 2 years, did not touch the team, and would be assured the Kings would be a playoff team when he returned, he still would not do it. That was according to Bobby Marks. So I have a hard time believing he would want to leave Sacramento.
First of all, it doesn't even matter if he wants to leave Sacramento. He can't. He can leave Sacramento. He can get on a plane and go wherever he wants. The franchise can't leave Sacramento.
Correct. And when I say Sacramento, I mean parting ways with this basketball team.
Well, he's not going to part ways with the basketball team because he's a jock sniffer, and his whole life revolves around being around celebrities, and he gets off on being around famous people. And if he sells the Kings, then he's not going to be around famous people, and then he's going to be miserable because he's going to have to hang out with ordinary people, average people, instead of the A-list celebrities and all of the musicians and former athletes and blah, blah, blah. He would be miserable,
Yeah, he does not understand that they're there to see the other team, hence Travis Scott.
Oh, my God, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, that was
embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Hey, so happy that you're here on the post-game show. Don't forget about Sunrise Landing in Calusa, a Blazona development project. The models are still there to choose from, but the lots, they are really going up. All right. And when I mean going up, I'm not talking about in price. I mean, people are buying them and there aren't that many left. So you want to check out everything with no Mellorews and no homeowners here at Sunrise Landing in Calusa. And all you need to do is go to the website. That's CalusaSunrise.com. CalusaSunrise.com, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. It's all there for you at Sunrise Landing, CalusaSunrise.com. And again, maybe you'll be relocating to Sunrise Landing in Calusa.
A solid A tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. DS99 says you made his day. I'm sure Grant is glad he could do that. So this is interesting because we've talked about it a few times on the show. The team that has had the worst record in the NBA since 2019, 2020 has not gotten the first pick, Grant.
That's right. That's right. What does that mean? Nothing. I still think the Kings are going to have the worst record in the league, but we went over the March schedule, and based on what lineups look like now every night in the NBA, all right, look at the lineup that Memphis put on the floor the other night.
Yeah, very true.
Look at the lineup Dallas put on the floor. You're getting a lot of these teams that are coming in here that are going to have similar lineups, boy, are the Kings going to screw this up and play well in the final 5 weeks of the season and go from the worst team in the league to the 5th worst team in the league or the 4th worst team? And then 2 teams are going to leapfrog over them and they're going to fall all the way to 6 or 7. You want to talk about a disaster on top of a disaster on top of a disaster? That would be a Mount St. Helens in Sacramento. That's what that would be.
Yeah, it's very true. Can't argue with that. Kings need to
disagree about Carter in the summer league. Analytics said he was the 12th best player. He's one of the he was the 12th best player. He was one of the Kings' best players in crunch time at summer league. Helped lead them to a championship game. Well, you can disagree all you want. He was wildly inconsistent in summer league.
He was also injured, and he was openly talking about that.
He was openly injured. That is very true. But he still was inconsistent.
He was. Yep. The Kings, okay. Can this fan base handle the amount of attention? Let's say the Kings do get the first pick. The national media and the rhetoric that's going to come from that. Even if Sacramento thinks the Kings take the best guy and made the right pick, media is still going to rip them for taking the wrong guy. Is that just going to be too much on top of all this? Do they need to be the 2nd or 3rd pick?
If you get the number 1 pick and you take Dibansa out of BYU, no one's going to criticize that.
I don't think you can. Now, right. if you go to Kansas and you take Peterson, that might be a different story.
Right.
That would be a perfect storyline for the national media to run with Vivek.
And if you weren't worried about what everyone else is worried, in terms of a dynamic player for the position he plays, that's exactly what the Kings need.
Very true. It is very true. Look, I don't think there is any chance unless the Kings buy him out and stretch him, but trading him, Grant, no.
Not happening. No.
I want to be real with everybody, and I think regardless, and I think you said this as well, regardless of having the first pick, you could very well have a season like this again next season simply because of the salaries that are on the books.
Somebody said, would Dibantis clash with a healthy Keegan? Who cares? He's better than Keegan. So
No.
I wouldn't even care about that. That's the last thing I'm worried about. With a team wins, 15 games a year, 16. I don't give a damn who clashes with who. I'm taking the best player, and if I think he's the best player, I'm taking him, and I'm not worried about it.
And I think we're on the AJ train right now.
Well, I don't think you can go wrong with him. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm on the AJ train, but I'm saying that if you are on the AJ train, that might be the equivalent of a bullet train over in Japan, Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that his skill set is that skill set that, let's say he's that guy. You need that 6'9", 6'10" guy that can play in the West and score against a Durant, possibly against a Wemby, etc.
By the way, if you missed the show today, go check it out on where you listen to your favorite podcast. The show has been downloaded onto there, or would the term be uploaded?
Uploaded.
Yeah, it's been uploaded. I had to download it first, and then after I downloaded it onto my laptop, I had to upload it. So I'm getting good at this terminology, man. I'm almost like Ryan with this stuff.
I'm going to get replaced by AI.
Oh my gosh. So tomorrow at 3:00, we're going to wrap up the week. If you missed the first hour of the show today, Ryan thought it was the best hour I've had since September 2nd, but I don't judge that. But Ryan loved it. A lot of other people did. So go check out the first hour of the show today if you can.
Please do. I listened to half of it again. Best hour. Did you listen a little bit?
I listened to the first half hour.
Okay.
Yep. Good. I'll listen to the George McPhee interview after I get off the show tonight, which is going to be in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it's that George McPhee, by the way.
Yes.
Vegas Golden Knights general manager.
George McFly.
Who can beat us up still right now.
Yeah.
his tender age of
with one hand tied behind his back.
yes.
You know that he
exactly
gets
right.
up every morning. He lives in Summerlin. He gets up every morning and gets on his bike and does a huge bike ride through all of the hills of Summerlin with a pretty steep ascent and then descent. And he's still in magnificent shape for his age.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm so glad that you started talking about the hills. I'm like, oh, he gets on his Peloton. No, he actually gets out and does it.
Oh, he's got the gear. I'm like, look at you, man. Cause I was at his house
Oh man.
when he had the cup, the Stanley Cup there. And I'm like, dude, what are you going to the Tour de France? What's going on here?
Okay,
He's
if
like,
he rides that much, it's okay. But
no,
if
he's hardcore. He goes,
okay.
yeah.
If you don't ride that much,
No, he
you
does.
should not be wearing that stuff.
No,
Some
he
people
doesn't
do.
just get it with his shorts and tank top. He's going full bore.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. He's got the helmet on.
Have to have the helmet.
I've never had a helmet on when I ride a bike.
Are you serious?
Never. I've never had
At
a helmet on.
6'2", you've never had a helmet on.
Nope. I don't even put a helmet on when I go to Southeast Asia and I rent a motorbike unless I'm in a congested city, which is stupid. I should have a helmet on, but I go to these islands when I go over to Asia and I'm like, I'm cruising. I got the ocean air in my face and I'm not going that fast anyway. So I'm going about 40 or 50 kilometers an hour, which you could kill yourself easily going that fast. But no.
Hey.
I'm just cruising around, man. $50 for a week to rent the motorbike.
You do you, buddy.
Yeah. And now I'm going to get, the next time I go over there, probably in the first 10 minutes, I'm going to have a crash and Ryan's going to go, see, you talked about it. That's karma. So you know what I'm going to do from now on? Next time I rent a motorbike, when I go to Southeast Asia, I'm going to demand I wear a helmet. That way, if I do get in an accident, Ryan can say, well, Napes, I'm proud of you. At least you had a helmet on.
Fair enough. I mean, some might argue you're from New York, so your head might be harder than the helmet. So
I went to Bali and rented a motorbike for a week and went all over the island, which is quite an excursion. And I did wear a helmet on that one. I did.
So you just contradicted this entire thing. You said
no. When I go to a small island, Bali's not a
Oh.
small island.
So when was the last time you had a cup of coffee then?
When I was in my mother's womb.
That don't make no sense.
Fair enough.
How about this? Grant in Southeast Asia on a motorbike. Amazing. Piece of cake. And don't forget about the motorbike taxis, right? 2 a.m, you got to get home, no train, got to get to the hotel, right? I got to go, Sukhumvit Soy Sam Sib Hoke. Let's go. Hop on the back of a motorbike taxi, cruising in and out of traffic. Boom, boom, boom. No, my hotel's over here. Sai. Oh, Sai. Yeah, Sai. No, drone by. Straight ahead. Sai. Hotel there. Hotel.
He could do this for like every country he's been to. He'll talk the language. He'll tell you the stories, what to do.
Yes.
Tune in for the 3rd hour of our show on most days. Yeah. Fox.
I'm not encouraging not to wear helmets. I'm just telling you, when I go to these small islands, a lot of times I don't. But you're right, I should. You're right. It's stupid. I'm not sitting here and saying you'd be smart. So.
Well, okay, no. So here's the difference. I'm going to meet you in the middle. If I'm George, I'm wearing a helmet.
Okay.
I'm riding in the hills.
Yeah.
I'm on a bike.
Yeah.
That's a motorbike. If I'm next to the ocean, I'm probably not wearing a helmet. So
somebody said, Tuk never understand what I'm saying. Good thing I drank and spoke amazing broken English. Yeah, very few of the tuk-tuk drivers over in Bangkok speak English, so you have to know a little bit. Absolutely, and then they're gonna charge you a lot more than they would because they're gonna try to take advantage of a tourist. So you got to go, my. You know,
they back down?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
So absolutely. That's your travel tip of the day. Ryan can't go because he doesn't have a passport.
Over under is what was it?
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. You have a good evening, and we'll be ready to roll tomorrow at 3:00.
Yes, indeed. Kings win. The 1099 contractor is lighting the beam for them right now for the 14th time.
Does my life insurance pay off if you're not wearing a helmet? No, it doesn't, because I don't have life insurance. So no, it would not pay off.
I don't have
Do
it
an
either.
open face next to the ocean. I don't plan on crashing. You
No,
know?
he's talking about an open face. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Grant, no helmets. I am not being John. John always has got a helmet on when he rides. So there are times when I've been on a motorbike in Thailand where I really do wish I had a helmet, and I haven't. And trust me, especially if I'm in Bangkok and I'm on a motorbike, I do wish I had a helmet because it's crazy. All right, Rhino.
Hold on. Got to put this up before we go. Grant, you've motivated me to get a passport.
All right. So now where are you going to go? Where are you going to go?
Good job, Daniel.
All right. Hey,
All right.
buddy, have a good night. To everyone else, thank you. Kings win. 2 wins in a week. Miracles do happen. Absolutely. Next up, the Lakers. Tomorrow, 3:00, Fox Sports Sacramento. Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate you. Bye-bye now.